I've been to a lot of Jeffco high schools to cover all kinds of stories for this district, but never one like this. It's surrounded by high chain-link fencing. The only way in or out is through an electric, guard-controlled gate. This is Jeffco's Mount View Youth Services Center in Lakewood. It's a school of second chances for students who've gotten themselves into trouble. The range of trouble runs the gamut, from simple truancy to serious criminal activity. All the buildings are numbered, including the living quarters, or pods, which are split between male and female.
The detained bed cap here is 39. Typically we wouldn't have more than that number. I would say our average right now is probably running about 10 days a student. But you know, we have kids here that have been here for 2 years.
This red and white, always locked two-story building is where the classrooms are located at Mount View. It's also where you'll find the principal, ex-Marine Chris Lee.
Freedoms are not there. They lose a lot of things that they're normal to. Technology's not there, phones aren't there, cars aren't there, money's not there, family's not there. We're really taking a difficult kid and trying to make it to where they get the education that they need and to somehow understand and realize that there are other options.
You won't see any pictures of Mount View students in this story because putting them on camera is against one of the many rules they have here, including the rules about students moving from one spot to another while dressed in prison-like jumpsuits.
At a traditional school, bell rings, kids can go freely back and forth, they can get a drink of water, they can go to the restroom. They can't do that here. They go from, and they're escorted from room to room. If they need to use the restroom, they're escorted one at a time. If they need water, it's one at a time. And it's after they're already in the class, and it's after 10 minutes within the class. Otherwise, if we didn't have that, a lot of kids will try to manipulate the situation to where 30 seconds in, they're out of the class already.
The core curriculum at Mount View is the same at what you'd find at any other Jeffco school. In this English class, for example, students are studying Jack London's White Fang and analyze what the story means. But the learning comes with a Mount View twist.
In the classroom, we could have 4, 5, 6 different grade levels actually within one classroom with one teacher. So how do we make sure that all those grade levels, all those benchmarks are met, all those standards are met?
A library is at the students' disposal, as well as a small selection of puzzles. But nobody here is hoping students will stay long enough to get too comfortable. The idea is to get them to understand why they ended up here in the first place, needing intervention, and to work cooperatively on a plan to get them back into a regular Jeffco school where they won't repeat destructive behavior. To do that, Mount View staff uses a mix of tools, including isolation.
If we don't feel that they can go into the classroom and be safe and learn, then we're not going to let them back in. For the most part, that's pretty rare. Most of the time, kids, once they spend some time in isolation and intervention, they're usually ready to come back to school.
Nicole Peck is a Mount View special education teacher.
They're kids, plain and simple. I don't care what they did to get in here, why they're here. They need to get their education and hopefully not come back.
Part of her job, and that of the other Mount View educators, is to guide students back onto a better path. In her 4 years here, she's enjoyed success, but she's also had the same students boomerang back half a dozen times.
I like the tough kids. I like the challenge. They need somebody to believe in them. That's why I do it.
One corner of her office is devoted to knitting needles and yarn. She says it sometimes helps getting through to them.
Figuring out their triggers for anger, life skills, whatever those things are that can help them cope while they're here and when they leave.
Just because they messed up one time doesn't mean that that's the kid that they are, or that that's the kid that they have to be all the time. Hopefully, by me doing my little part, it can at least hit that spark in a kid to say, I think I'll go down this route, I'll do something different, instead of going the path that I was doing.
Everyone deserves a second chance. That's the bottom line. I don't care if you're 12, if you're 16, or if you're 40. Everyone deserves a second chance.